Today we're speedrunning the Spongebob Squarepants movie, one of the most nostalgic games from my childhood. Now the speedrun starts in SpongeBob's dream. If you remember from the movie, basically SpongeBob wants to become the manager of the Krusty Krab. He dreams about it, saving the day, and that's also how this game is going to start out too. So right here I will just do a quick jump. We don't have to worry about those boxes or anything, and once we make it up to this point, we'll see Patrick, but we're just going to skip his cutscene. Now things like these jellyfish, they also do give us extra manliness points, which that's how we upgrade ourselves. So that is important. But here, what I'm going to do is save up some momentum against that rock and use that to be able to make that jump, skipping a cutscene. We'll also skip another cutscene right here where we break through these boxes, go on top of this, and then we have a very precise jump where we just barely are able to make it over to that cliff, and that puts us at almost the end of the level. All that's left for this one is just jump over here. We'll make our way over to Mr. Krabs and our first Goofy Goober token. And Mr. Krabs, he is looking a little weird, but we're not going to worry about it. I'm sure he's doing fine. But after that, it's time for I'm Ready Depression. And that's because then Mr. Krabs tells SpongeBob that he's actually going to go with Squidward instead of him. So SpongeBob and Patrick both get drunk off ice cream, and we're over here. Now first I have to make that jump. What you have to do is get a piece of collision that you're able to jump off of, and then I'm going to do this jump where we're just barely able to make it over here. We can do a jump into this chocolate, get a big boost off of that, and be able to hit all of those buttons sooner than you would normally be able to. That's going to give us a new path through here, and yeah, both of those tricks, I didn't even really mention it, but they're pretty hard to do. Anyways, with Patrick, now we have to make it past all this stuff. I don't know why this is in an ice cream shop. I feel like this could be very dangerous for all the kids that are coming through, but I guess that also doesn't really matter because we're just going to be jumping through with Patrick. How this game works is you have some levels where you're using SpongeBob, some where you use Patrick. This is mainly a Patrick level, and we're going to get our second token and then warp back to it. That's going to put us back in this area. What we're going to want to do is take out that machine because that's going to give us some more manliness points, and then we're pretty much just walking over with Patrick. We'll use our tongue ability to grab onto that ice, then just hit through that button. We'll see a couple of these guys jumping out, so we do have to dodge those attacks so we don't get hit. And this is going to be the first part where we see Mindy. Now Mindy, we're just not going to talk to at all, but she will give us a new ability, which is the Cartwheel ability, and this is really good for speedrunning since obviously we go much faster, and we'll be able to use that to jump all the way over to our next token. Yeah, we're never going to talk to Mindy in this run. We're pretty much always skipping her, but anyways, back to the first token. And that's going to put us right back at the beginning. What we can do is actually use a cartwheel into a jump to barely be able to ledge grab. Then we can do another jump over into this area, and basically we're going to go through the entire level just right here. Instead of actually playing through it, we can line ourselves up for a perfect jump, be able to get a second jump because of the weird collision, go down here, and that's going to be the very last token of this level. Yeah, there are a lot of cool skips like that in this game, but now it's time for Sandwich Driving 101, because now in the movie, Plankton steals the crown from King Neptune, and then SpongeBob and Patrick have to go and find that crown, which is going to be in Shell City. So we take our sandwich car, and we'll be driving it over. Now the important part of this level is just how you manage your nitros. Every once in a while, we're going to see these nitros, and we either want to use them on jumps or on shortcuts. Also right here, because it makes me, I also am going to get one of these upgrades. We're going to upgrade Patrick's Cartwheel. Otherwise, that message would just keep showing up, and it's not the most fun thing in the world. But anyways, like there, we're going to use a nitro. That way we can get through one of those jumps faster. We can grab one nitro here, and then there is going to be another in this grass. So I'm going to slow down, grab that, and we can go get a nice shortcut through that one. So yeah, not the hardest level in the world. It's just about being smart with where you're using your nitros. And there's also a bunch of construction that's going on in this level. These people who are doing this construction are terrible at their jobs. Like, they're actually destroying the entire city. And also we're driving against the traffic, which is kind of funny. The police don't care. I mean, they kind of come for us, but hey, it's probably fine. Anyways, we'll get another nitro there, and we might as well use two right here because there's not really a better place to do so. But then you see a building is literally collapsing. Who is this construction company? Who's trusting them? Look at that ball, it's coming at us. But this is able to get us a shortcut, so I'm not going to complain too much. Now we're getting towards the end of the level. We can grab two nitros, and then we're actually going to skip these jumps because the jumps will just take longer than going on the ground, and since we can use nitros through the sand area, it won't slow us down at all. I love how chill Patrick is during this ride with his arm over SpongeBob. You know, he has no worries at all this stuff that could very much kill him. I guess that that fits Patrick's character pretty well. But then we're going to use another nitro to get through that water area, and we're coming over to the end. There's going to be this one last nitro and this bridge that is going up, but we don't care because we're making it straight over to the finish. So then Mindy's going to give us our next token, and yeah, feels pretty good. Next up is the level 3000 miles to Shell City. Mindy, first of all, is going to give us a new power-up. It lets us uppercut things, and we can move over planks like that, but it also gives us the ability to do some really cool tricks. The first one being right here. So what we want to do is line ourselves up, then we're going to do a double jump over there, then hold the button to do our uppercut, and then do a jump right after that so we don't fall into the water, and that's going to get us straight across here. We're going to be able to use that skip in a lot of different places that save time, like right here. I want to line myself up. You have to be very careful with this one because it can kill you if you aren't. We'll just barely be able to make that ledge grab and save a little bit of time. That one only saves a tiny bit of time. Different ones can save much more. It just depends on the thing, but either way, we're going to be using them a lot. We can also just skip all the way up here by hitting some collision with our uppercut, and yeah, the uppercut is just so good in this game. Now we want to set up another one of these uppercut tricks, so I'm going to get rid of these guys, especially that hammer dude, because he is very annoying. Line myself up, do a jump, and then spin and be able to make our way over here, destroy that rock, which is going to get us the bungee challenge. Now we're going to come back to the bungee challenge later. Before we do that, I also want to destroy this thing. That's going to give us some more manliness points, and we get the bouncy, bouncy, bouncy task by hitting that button. So there's going to be a token over there, which we can go over and get, but we're actually going to make a detour first. So what I'm going to do is take these jumps and go over to our very first Spongeball section. Now the Spongeballs are fun because first of all, I mean, just look at SpongeBob. He is not having the greatest time, but it is kind of funny. Like his eyes are just moving around and all that stuff. Kind of terrifying. What you do with this one is you can't jump or do anything like that. You just have to go in ball form, and there's going to be a bunch of obstacles. I remember when I was a kid playing this game, these levels were some of the most aggravating in the world. Once we get to the later Spongeballs, there are some very difficult ones, so I will tell you once we get to those. But yeah, so much of this game, I don't even know how old I was when I used to play this game, but it must have been like 7 or 8. This game is both very nostalgic just for how good it is and how hard it is. I have spent so much time on so many of these levels, but we will get our next token, and then what I can do is actually pause before it fades to black, and we can go to our next token during that screen. That saves us a loading screen, which is really nice, especially because these loading screens are long. So we came back over to this bungee challenge, and what we're going to want to do is go actually beneath that thing, and that's going to be able to allow us to dive whenever we want instead of when we come all the way to the top. So we can use that to our advantage, do this entire level faster, but once I get hit, we actually lose that ability. It doesn't really matter though, because we already got all the things. After that, we can then go into this box, which teleports us to the other one, and there's also going to be this token just waiting there for us. That's the one from doing the bouncing challenge. Then we can take this trampoline all the way back to where we were before, and right here, there's going to be another button. We just have to uppercut it. That's going to destroy this entire machine and open up a new path for us. So right here, we just want to dodge all this hot air that's coming out because it would very much hurt SpongeBob if it did hit him. And we can jump through this place until we get over to our next challenge level, and this time it's going to be a floating block challenge. Now in the floating block challenges, instead of SpongeBob, we're going to be using Patrick. And these are pretty fun, especially with our cartwheel ability, because they allow us to go much faster, and it's pretty much just about taking the right path. Some of these floating block challenges are extremely hard, and even this one, when I was a kid, I probably spent a lot of time on it. I remember me and my siblings would play this game, and a lot of the time we would have to give the controller to my brother so he could complete these levels. Hey, I'm a little bit better nowadays, but back then, this game was so difficult. If you played this back when you were a kid, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, now we also have these blocks that are spinning around, and you do have to be careful with these ones, especially those ones that are twirling. If you don't do good jumps, you can very easily fall off, so I am going to play that kind of carefully. That was pretty terrifying. And then we just go through the last couple, make it to our next checkpoint, where now we're going to have these ice blocks, and these work in a way where once you touch them, they're going to start disintegrating, so you got to get to the next one right away. There's also this really weird effect that's going on. Not exactly sure what that's about, but it doesn't matter. We make it to our token. Now, as soon as we spawn back in, we're back to SpongeBob. There's going to be this guy who's trying to hit us with his spit. Kind of disgusting, dude. What we're going to do is come over to this spot where you're supposed to use Patrick, but instead we can just do a well-spaced jump with SpongeBob and save some time. Now we're just going to hit through that first one because there's a sandwich right after there. And in general, I'm trying not to get hit too much, especially around these, because that would put us into the spiky mess that's downstairs. But right here, I am going to get get hit there, we're gonna jump onto this thing. You're not supposed to be here, but thankfully there is some collision we can take, and then we can just do a wall grab, getting us our next token. Then all we need to do with SpongeBob is go and die. He splits into a million pieces, but that's gonna put us right back to the start of the challenge where we have to do this jump. I'm going to space it pretty well, and then we're going to do another one of these uppercut jumps, and then that's going to put us perfectly in this place with the button. That's going to open up some new paths for us, and this one is actually kind of difficult because of these guys who are trying to spit you. We do want to bait that guy out. He has killed me before. That guy is very annoying. But now we just have 3 more buttons we have to take out, so I'm just going to uppercut all 3 of them, and finally we'll also get this token. So that's 11 tokens and another level done. But now it's time for another one of the most memorable levels for me, Rub-a-Dub Dub Slip Slide in the Tub. For this one, both Patrick and SpongeBob are in a tub for some reason, and we have to destroy these buttons, which is going to hit those towers. Or at least you're supposed to hit all 5 towers, but we're actually going to be able to do a really cool skip that skips 2 of them. It's a very difficult skip, so we'll see how I do with it. But in the meantime, all we're doing is just some regular platforming. These levels especially, I feel like were the hardest ones when I was playing this game as a kid, because it's really hard to control. You can't go back at all. So if you make any mistakes and you fall off, things are just over. We're gonna make it over here. We're gonna go past that flower, turn over to the right, jump around that point, do a perfect double jump, and be able to make it to this spot. That's called dumb jump because it's a dumb jump. And if you go too much to the left right there, then you're going to hit an invisible wall. And if you go too much to the right, you're not going to be able to make the jump. So it's pretty precise, and I'm very surprised I got it first try. But that's also pretty good for us. Now we can just play through the level. Also, I love Patrick's head in this level, how it's just like bending backwards or all the weird angles it's taking. You know he doesn't care, but it is interesting. And now we're also going to do another skip where we jump over to this spot, saving another good amount of time. And now one interesting thing about this part is normally there would be enemies here, and you can actually see me hitting some of the collision for them. But because we did dumb skip, there's just no enemies. And there's also not going to be this button, which has the cannon and destroys the tower. Now, it will still get destroyed, thankfully, but it's kind of funny. It just doesn't actually render because we did the skip. Anyways, all that's really left for this level is to come through here and do some pretty difficult jumps. For these ones, we have to be careful to jump at the absolute latest point, especially for this one, to be able to make it to the next platform, but that is going to be the fastest path to take. After that, all we have to do is just turn to the right, see Patrick's head just floating in the wind. It's looking beautiful. Hit that final button, which destroys another tower, and it says all towers destroyed, even if we didn't actually do that, but I still am going to take my token. Yeah, don't worry about it, Mindy. I'm sure it's fine. So it's bubble blowing baby hunt time. And for this one, we have a very cool skip where we're basically just going to skip the entire level. Now, don't worry, we will be coming back to this level later, which is good because it has some very cool levels. But what we want to do with Patrick is make this jump, and we want to get off there. And then we have to do very precise jumps, where as soon as Patrick hits the ground, we want to do another jump. Otherwise, we're going to get the slide physics and go back downwards like we did right there, but we can actually save ourselves, make it over to this point. And that makes the game think we just completed the entire level. So now what we can do is jump over here, kill that guy first, and then start using our cartwheel ability that, if you remember, we actually upgraded earlier to kill everybody else. These guys who swing around their dogs are the most annoying, but we can take them out too. Then we just have to wait a second, see SpongeBob go for the golden spatula and get the token, completing this entire level. Next up is no weenie parking anytime. We're here, there's going to be some locked gates, and we have to get all the keys to actually open that gate. And this level definitely ups the difficulty in these sandwich levels. There's plenty of oil going through, and when you touch the oil, you'll lose some control. And there's also these things trying to pop our tires, which is pretty rude. But we're going to be taking this right path first of all, which is the harder path, unfortunately. But that's because there's going to be our first key here. Now, there is a key up there, but no matter what, you do have to take 2 laps for this level. So we're just going to worry about it later. And this level is kind of weird for me because I don't really have too many memories of it. I do remember one of the levels that's like right after this one, which is kind of funny. But I guess this one wasn't the most memorable sandwich driving, at least for me. Or my brother played this entire level and I just thought I did. That very much could have happened too. We're walking through here just trying to get as many nitros as possible, and right now we have 3 out of the 5 keys. So here we're pretty much going to take the exact same laps until we get to here, where instead of taking the right path, we can destroy that wall and take this one over to the left. This is going to be much faster and also easier, and it also lines us up perfectly because there's going to be this key right there. That's going to be number 4. Here we're going to destroy that person's gate. I don't know how their parking lot is this big. Like, what is this parking lot actually? I am wondering. There's also all these sauces, which if we do hit, we will lose some speed. Actually, I don't even think we lose any speed. We just lose some of our health. So really not the worst thing in the world. Also, while we're doing this, big shout out to Purple Foundation. He both has almost every world record for this game and made the tutorial for this game that I used to learn. So his channel will be in the description. And we can just come through here. We see that we now have 4 out of the 5 keys, and that's going to destroy something. So now you'll see that there's a ramp to get this very last key. We can do a turbo right over there. That's going to open all the gates, but we're not actually going to go to the end just yet. Instead, we're going back to rub-a-dub-dub, slip slide in the tub. And that's because we need some more tokens. So now we're going to do a time challenge where basically you just have to beat this game in a certain amount of time. You've already seen it though, so we'll just skip to the end. We get the token, of course. And then before it gets us to do the ring challenge, because the ring challenge is much longer, we'll then go to Sandwich Driving 101. And like last time, we get another one of these time challenges, followed by a ring challenge, where you have to get through these rings within a certain amount of time. Also, not really the hardest thing in the world. And then one more time challenge, which is an even harder one. So yeah, not too much to say about any of those. We just get 3 more tokens, and we're good to go. So now what we want to do is go back to no weenie parking anytime. And once we're here, the funniest thing happens, where since we already got all the keys, the game actually remembers that, and we can just go straight to the ending of it from the beginning. It's amazing. But it's boss fight time with I'll Let You Pet Mr. Whiskers. In the movie, SpongeBob and Patrick wanted to get some ice cream, but it was a fake ice cream shop, and instead, we have to fight this gigantic beast. Now, I am going to upgrade my slam ability with Patrick, because that's going to help a lot for this level, but to start out, all we have to do is dodge Mr. Whiskers and then hit him. So I will do that again. We can just use our Cartwheel ability. He'll start going off the cliff, and then I want to go generally in the middle of the map. But now we're going to get the old lady to start coming out, and we want to hit her directly in the head right there. That way the ice cream drops on her head, and we can get a second hit. And because we have the slam ability, we just do so much damage. So we'll do another one right there, and one more as soon as she shows up. And yeah, that's the entire fight. Now Patrick gets to chill here for a second, along with SpongeBob just hanging on for dear life in the background while we cheer about getting our token. But now we have the level that when I think about this game, I think about this level. This is Rock Slide, and it is such a memorable one. So we have SpongeBob and Patrick this time going on a shell, and there's going to be all these monsters that start coming out, but right away we have a cool skip, where what we're going to do is a double jump right here, hit that monster, and be able to skip part of the level, which saves a good amount of time. And a great thing about this level is it is full of cool skips that we get to do, so I really enjoy it. Now what I'm going to do right here is go over to the right, that way we can hit that trampoline and save some more time. And another important thing about this level, we also want to make sure we get tons of manliness points during it, so I will hit those explosions, get some more there, and then we're going to jump into this area, which this skip, I'm pretty sure my siblings and I actually knew how to do this when we were kids, so I'm proud of that. It is actually faster. I'm not exactly sure what this area is. I don't know if I want to know, but it is a pretty cool one to get. Then once we come over here, we can do a jump onto this trampoline, saving us some more time by getting to this path, and then we're going to do a pretty precise turn off by that lamppost. So we come all the way down here. If you go too much to the right, then you're actually going to get stopped by a hand. So we were able to get it done pretty perfectly. Good level so far, not gonna lie. I just have to make a general jump. There's going to be some explosions, might as well hit them for some more manliness points, and we're going to be taking this right path. Where it's time for our very next skip, I can jump right here. We're going to want to double jump. If we can, we want to avoid that cliff because it does make us go a little bit slower, but either way, not the worst thing in the world, and we still save some time. Now we have these platforms. I remember as a kid, these were terrifying. Normally they're spinning around and you have to adjust to what they're going to be, but now they're just going to be stationary for us, so it's really nice, probably because of all the skips we're doing. Those ones, my tiny brain when I was a kid could not figure it out, like right there. This time I always know it's going to be the left path, so we don't have to worry about it, but normally that is a scary part. So we're coming up over towards the end. This is one of the longest one of these sliding levels though. I mean, we do make it a lot less long just by doing all these skips, but normally it takes so much time. At this point though, we want to take these left paths, that way we come up into this area. We'll destroy a couple more of these blocks, make one of these jumps over here. Might as well get a couple of these TNTs, that way we can get some more manliness points, and then do a jump, start going over to the left about there, and we're going to be able to get ourselves perfectly straight into this area, right over to the end of the level. Yeah, this level is absolutely insane. I love that we did it so well, I'm not gonna lie. But it's just such a good feeling level with all the skips and stuff like that. And like I said, when I think about this game, I think about this level because me and my siblings used to grind it out so much, especially for the time challenges. And now I could probably beat those time challenges extremely easily. So that leads us to Now That We're Men. And here, Mindy's gonna give SpongeBob the new ability of the Spongebowl. So we're gonna be able to upgrade that right away. And that makes the Spongebowl so much better because it has a huge effect. As you can see right here, we can bowl one of those. It does so much damage. It's a really good move. But we're gonna have to use the Spongebowl a lot in this level. I can use it right there. And before these platforms even come up, we're just gonna make this jump. That way we can skip a cutscene. Then I'll come over here. We want to jump on this sign and then do our very first wall jumps of the run, which was kind of funny because we've skipped all the other ones. But basically with these wall jumps, you just want to make it pretty far and go across. Now there's also going to be these really annoying enemies. These are the new spitting guys. I always hate these floating enemies, but now it's time for a hard skip that really isn't worth it for me, but it's really funny when you get it because I want to do a jump, barely make it over there, and then we get to see Patrick. His skin is getting pulled. That's the only reason I like doing that skip. It only saves like 6 seconds, but it's so funny just seeing Patrick right there with his skin getting pulled. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say funny, but it is something interesting that the game happened because they never expected you to actually see that because normally you would get a cutscene. Anyways, now I'm coming over here. I want to do a jump onto this thing. We can then do another jump over here. There are a couple of monsters that I do want to keep an eye out for because they can hit you directly into the goo below you. But now it's time for the next bungee challenge. Like with the last one, what I want to do is go under these things, but these ones are interesting because they actually break when you come from below them, which the first ones didn't. So it is something different to deal with. I will try to go below that. It didn't exactly work, but we will get our last one right there, or at least the last one in that section. Now we only have a group of 6 more, so I'm trying to hit these and also not get hit by the wind in the middle. I got below that one somehow. We can get a couple of bungees, and you know, that wasn't perfect, but it was actually pretty good. So we can take the box back over here, and we're going to want to hit this monster with one of our sponge bowls, then also destroy this enemy just so that he is out of the way. And now this monster is going to be our path, which is kind of awesome. All we have to do is make sure that we stay on his body. And yeah, so many cool parts about this game. I just love it so much. But now we want to do a sponge bowl over here. That way we can keep that platform up and then do another one of these bash skips where we're going to go ahead, do that, do one of our bashes in the air and be able to make it over to this section. But here we have a very annoying enemy. This guy who shoots multiple of these projectiles at you, and you have to be very careful, but we barely missed. That's fine, not the worst time loss in the world, but this guy can be very, okay, please be. Gotta love when the run is going so well and then something like that happens. To be fair, it was like 15 seconds of time loss, so really not that bad. But anyways, now we're gonna come behind this creature and just continually sponge bowl him in the back. And because our sponge ball is upgraded, he can't take very many of them, and we kill him. It was the easiest fight of my life. It's very nice that that creature didn't have any collision on it. So yeah, we just don't have to worry about it at all. It's a very easy mini boss fight, if you can even call it a mini boss. But now we're making it out this door. And once we're here, we're actually gonna wanna go backwards, and we can jump off this door to make it over to here. Then we're going to want to get on this trampoline and be able to do the perfect jump into a spin to make it to this area much sooner than we're supposed to be able to. We'll also bowl that guy because he can be very annoying before also killing that guy who's trying to shoot us and seeing another one of our monster friends. But here, we're not actually going to bowl him. Instead, we're going to line this up perfectly, do one of these jumps into a bash, be able to perfectly get off of his head, do another jump, and be able to make it to that token, which is a super cool trick to be able to pull off. And then we're going to teleport over to this token. This is really nice because it puts us right at the end of the level. But before we actually finish it out, we got another one of these challenges. It's going to be another Patrick challenge, but this one has a really cool skip we get to do. First of all, though, I'm just kind of going to wait this out because these moving platforms can be very annoying if you aren't careful. And I have learned through my many runs of doing this game that it is not worth it to try to go too fast in this level. This level has killed me so many times and it just isn't the best feeling. Anyways, we'll make it through all those spikes and then we get to this trampoline section. Where for this, it's some pretty easy playing. All we're doing is just jumping. Gotta love Patrick just wiggling his tongue in the air, doing his thing. But we'll be making our way just going onto higher and higher of these trampolines until we make it to this section where we want to time our jump to be able to skip that checkpoint. Now basically what skipping that checkpoint does is it allows us to not activate the hand that would normally be here. So instead of getting caught by the hand, we can just cartwheel down this spot and go directly over to this token way earlier than we're supposed to. Next up, we're going to want to go into this port ahead and switch over to Patrick. Then we can do this jump, and we just have one more token that we have to get in this level before we finish out, which is going to be this one, where all we're doing is taking these ice blocks and going past. There are these exploding things, so I do have to make sure I don't die to those, but other than that, we just make it to the end, we get our next token. Then we can take this trampoline over here, go directly back, and just be able to cartwheel ourselves to the very last token, which that has never happened to me before. Okay, not the worst thing that could have happened. It barely lost any time, but that was very strange. Anyways, that's token number 25. So next up, it's Shell City Dead Ahead time. Mindy, like usual, is going to give us a new power. This time, it's going to be the throw power. So with this, we're able to pick up things like this watermelon with Patrick, and then be able to destroy stuff using it. Like this guy, for a lot of speedruns, you can just skip this guy, but he has messed me up before just because it's a very annoying enemy, so I'm just going to take it out. Then we can take this watermelon over here and hit this first button. There is also a jump skip that you can do to just skip that entirely, but it barely loses any time. And that's another part where I have lost runs to. It's not the greatest feeling in the world. We'll just be jumping across here, dodging all the different enemies and stuff, and then actually doing one of our skips where we want to do a jump, just barely be able to grab onto that ledge, which saves a little bit of time. And we'll also see this TV, which has Plankton on it. Of course, in the movie, right now, Plankton took over the entirety of Bikini Bottom. We don't actually know that yet, but I guess his advertisements have just gotten all the way out here, which is kind of funny. Anyways, I do want to destroy those different explosions just to be able to get some more manliness points, and we'll be able to come over here where there's going to be one of these ice blocks. We can use our tongue ability, and then we have a pretty specific trick where that's not what we want to do. So we want to do a spin into a cartwheel, so then we can double jump that, and that took way longer than it should have, but we get the token eventually. After that, all we have to do is then jump into this goose so we can die with Patrick, and then we want to turn around. We're going to use this ice block, and we want to line up Patrick perfectly on this cliff. So then he gets hit by that explosion, we gain some momentum, and now we have more momentum than we normally would with this ice block. So we're able to use that momentum to basically keep building it up and then get onto this area, which is really cool. But now we have the hardest part of this trick, and it really isn't the hardest part, but it's really hard for me for some reason. I have to do one of these jumps where we do a spin into one of our cartwheels, make the double jump. That has killed me so many times, and it's not a good feeling death because you lose like a minute if you mess it up. Thankful we actually got it first try here. Now we can just bring over this watermelon. There are going to be these guys with their dogs, or I guess they're worms. What do these guys have in their hands? I guess it's not really something to worry about right now. I'm going to be coming over here. We can do a cartwheel, and we're basically just going to be able to get a point which we can teleport to later on. For now though, we just want to come back to this area after we die. There's going to be some guys who jump out of this, and we can just destroy them, pick up one of them, jump on that trampoline, and then throw that at the TV. That's going to destroy this path, and we can just cartwheel over to there, go in the door. Now in this area, we have another very cool skip we're going to do, but first of all, I'm going to move that guy out of the way because they are very annoying sometimes. Then we'll be coming over here. We're going to do one of our body slams on that, so that way we can pick up this metal block. Now, I want to line this up perfectly, where basically you see the hand that's on that block. We're going to keep inching our way up until that hand is gone. Then we can throw that over there. We're going to do a cartwheel jump and just barely be able to grab onto that thing. And it's time for more of these jumps. Now, right away, they're kind of hard with all those things on the ground because it's hard to see where you are. But after that, I'm going to be able to get it if I can. We just want to make sure Patrick keeps jumping. And yeah, I use the shadow in this one to try to keep my jump going, but it's very hard because this one is super long. You pretty much can't even blink when you're doing this one because it's super easy to mess up, but we'll be able to make it over to this token, and that feels good to get it that fast. Sometimes this token takes me like 1 or 2 minutes, so I'm pretty happy with that one, even if there were some small mistakes. Now we can come over here, and we're just going to want to cartwheel ourselves into this section where now we're going to want to do a pretty cool jump, where we're going to do a spin into a cartwheel, then do a jump. We weren't able to grab the ledge, but you will see we did get the token, so that's all that matters. Now, I shouldn't have exited that menu and instead just teleported over to the Spongeball challenge. I'm just glad we got the token. Sometimes you don't if you don't get the ledge grab, but we were barely high enough to be able to get it, so that's a nice time save. Anyways, this is a Spongeball challenge. We actually got it earlier when we did that whole thing with the watermelon and then died, if you remember earlier. It's just pretty smart to go in here right now, but to start out, we just have this spinning platform. We can use some momentum them to be able to go up there a little bit faster. We have these platforms which get destroyed as soon as you hit them. And then we have these blocks. So these are going to switch. It's going to go blue and then yellow. I can stop myself on the blue one, then it's going to be the yellow one. And then normally there's going to be 3 of those blocks, and those go red, yellow, blue. So I can use that to my advantage. We see that that's blue, that's going to be red, and we just go straight through. You just have to remember the order that they're coming in, and this level is so much easier. This is another one as a kid, I'm pretty sure aggravated me to no end. But as long as you know what you actually have to do, you can see how easy it is, and we can just make this final jump straight over here into that token. And I forgot to teleport. Okay, not the worst thing in the world, but I forgot to teleport there. So that is a bit of a time loss, but we're just going to make our way to this next challenge. This is going to be our next cartwheel challenge. And like many of these cartwheel challenges, it's very hard. This time we have these ice blocks, and they slow you down at first, and then you gain up a lot of speed if you're able to keep it. But we're not on these blocks for long enough to really be able to get up a lot of speed, and we can't really use our cartwheel to speed that up at all. So yeah, you just got to go slow. But now we're on to Patrick. For this one, I just want to be pretty careful with this level. I'm not going to lie. This is another one of them that killed me very many times before. That almost just killed me there with these moving blocks and stuff. So I am making sure to take my time, and we'll make it over here onto these trampoline platforms. Now we can just jump over there. We'll see some more of these spikes, and I just want to take the non-spiky areas. Spikes will hit you off into weird directions, so sometimes they can be very bad. We just want to avoid the spikes at all costs, if I'm going to be honest. Now I'm going to take that right there. We're going to wait that out too. You could probably do that a little bit faster. It's just not worth it for this level at all. And these ice blocks, okay, that almost went terribly. The ice blocks can be annoying because if you hit them on the side, they're also going to start shrinking. And if you grab onto one with a ledge grab, you're pretty much 100% dead. So it is not a good thing to do. But we can make it past the ice blocks, and all we have are these final trampoline platforms, where this is as simple as doing a couple of jumps, making sure we dodge all of these spikes. I'll get that one right there. And there's going to be our token just sitting there for us. So yeah, another stressful level done. Now it's going to spawn us back into this area where before anything else, we're actually going to upgrade Patrick's throw, and now we can throw things even farther. Then we want to do a pretty precise jump where all we have to do is that. Okay, it's not actually that precise. It looks a lot more precise than it is, but we're able to skip some stuff, so save some time and all that. Now we're coming through here where we want to do this jump. We want to dodge this fan, hit the end of it, and I don't know what just happened there. Okay, unlucky. As I was saying, we want to dodge this fan, go straight over there. Then we want to wait until this button thing goes downwards. That way we can take that. Now we want to use these guys as things we're going to throw. So I'm going to take this first guy, move over to the left, and be able to hit that button. That was actually perfect. Could not have gone any better. I want to make sure these guys aren't going to burp on me though. So next up, we'll take out that guy. And unfortunately, that didn't take out the machine in the middle. So that is going to be kind of annoying. But after doing with all that stuff, we can hit this other button, and not too bad of a level. Then all we have to do is just go to the end of the level where we're going to see this watermelon. And we want to do another one of these spin throws where we do it in the air. That way we can hit the TV, and that destroys Plankton's sponsorship, and we get our token. But now it's Dennis fight number 1. Dennis has control of SpongeBob and is using SpongeBob as like a bat. It's really rude, I'm not gonna lie. But basically what we want to do is just keep throwing these watermelons at Dennis. He's gonna hit SpongeBob on the ground too. SpongeBob's probably in so much pain, but that isn't the place we wanted Dennis to go to, so that is gonna lose me a bit of time. It should be fine. I want to get rid of this person using his worm to do that. Okay, we're able to get off that hit, and I just have to be kind of careful, except there's gonna be that guy. All right, that's a little annoying. There's so much stuff that happens during this fight. I'm not sure how you're supposed to do this as a kid. I'm not gonna lie, this is a very hard fight. It took a little bit longer than it should have. We still get it done. Now we're on to the Goofy Goober level, where for this one we have to follow the Goofy Goober. He's gonna keep moving, and we just have to follow him to the best of our abilities. If we get too far behind him, then we'll actually lose the level. So it's very important to just keep up with him. Thankfully, he won't go too fast, and if you do get a little bit behind him, he will slow down for you. But obviously, since we're speedrunning, we're just trying to go as fast as possible in general. But yeah, this level is really cool because it is game specific. I don't think there was anything like this in the movie, and I really like the environment, all the candy that's coming down trying to hit us, stuff like that. But here we'll go for a shortcut until we get hit by a gumball. Okay, well, yeah, that was maybe not the best thing in the world. Still, the Goofy Goober isn't going to get too much in front of us, so we are fine to go. And now we're on to the second lap, where for this one, things things are going to change a bit. Because one important thing is you can't get too far behind the Goofy Goober, but you can get in front of him. So that means we're going to be using a very special shortcut to get in front of him and then basically not follow him for the rest of the level. Now, the reason we weren't able to do this earlier in the run is because if you do it on the first lap, then he's going to go on max speed for the rest of the level and you're not going to be able to catch up to him. So we have to wait for the second lap, and here when we come into Goober World, we're going to go through this wall, just completely destroying the Goofy Goober in this race. And yeah, now we're ahead of him for the rest of the level. So this is cool, but it's also why we saved up so many nitros. You'll see right now I have 4 of them. And because of this, we're going to be able to keep our speed ahead of him and just make sure we don't lose, because that would be very bad. But we'll try for the shortcut another time. Unfortunately, I got hit by a gumball, and I mean, that one worked a little bit better. Anyways, time for the last lap. You've already seen all this. So we'll try the shortcut one last time. We actually get it this time, and then we'll go to the finish, beating the level and getting yet another token before one of the best levels in this game. And that level is Google Eyes and Smelly Knickknacks, where now we're finally in Shell City. And what we want to do here is get out, because we were able to take back the crown for King Neptune, but we actually got to escape with it. And there are going to be these people coming up to us. You can see that guy just trying to jump scare us, kind of rude. But we want to take the right path right here. That way we can actually hit all of these faucets. So I hit the first faucet right at the beginning, and now we're going to be taking this yellow path. And this level is just really cool because there are so many paths you can take. Like right here, we can switch over to the blue one before going back to the yellow, hitting that faucet, and then going down here, which is going to be our third faucet, before dying. That's going to put us back onto this blue faucet, and then you'll see with all of them turned, we now have a new path. But before we get onto that new path, I am going to take my jump over here. We're going to get onto this yellow area, and I'm actually going to get hit on purpose there. Before we make this jump, just a double jump over there, kind of precise, but really not that bad, and it puts us onto the next area of the map. We just have kind of a long area where we're just going forward until finally we make it over here. We go onto the red path before switching over to the blue one, and there's tons of electricity and stuff that we want to keep an eye out for. And we'll just keep going over on this blue path until we hit that button that's going to drop one of the lamps. Then we can switch over to this red path and then also hit that one. And yeah, this is just such a cool level. So from here, we're just going to keep taking this red path. You will see some of the lamps were dropped, but not enough for us to actually be able to escape this area. So we still want to get the yellow one and the orange one. You gotta love how the person is still trying to capture us, hitting his arm up into us and stuff like that. And you also gotta love just the environment of this map, all the different knickknacks and stuff like that. But anyways, we're gonna drop our third lamp right there. Then we can very easily go onto this orange path, and there's gonna be our fourth one immediately there. So we want to get hit, and I realized I actually got some health, I guess, so not exactly the best thing, but doesn't lose too much time. We wanted to die there because it puts us directly back on this red path. So from there, all we have to do is jump on these lamps. I'm not gonna lie, this game is making me so nostalgic for the movie. I'm gonna have to watch it next movie night. The movie and the game are just so good. This is one of my favorite childhood games. I know I've said it a couple of times, I can't stop. Anyways, we're gonna get our token for Minnie, and that's pretty cool. It's time for Dennis fight number 2. This time we're on David Hasselhoff. And what we want to do is hit Dennis with our sponge balls. Okay, that was not where he was supposed to jump. That's kind of weird. So we're just basically only going sponge balls, and this fight didn't exactly do what I wanted it to, but we can hit him right there. We'll try to hit him with one of those balls, and then I need to get this guy out of the way, but what? Okay, so I think what just happened there was that Dennis just got hit by the explosion caused from the sponge ball when he was jumping over it. That is actually insane. Didn't even know that could happen, but I'm not gonna complain. Now we're on to Planktopolis, where right away Mindy tells us that we don't actually have enough tokens to get our next upgrade. But thankfully for us, we don't need it yet. Normally you would have to use it right here, but instead I can just do a bash into there, mess up my jump. But a second time I do a bash into there, and then we just jump up this thing, and we can skip having to get the guitar ability at all. Then we'll be coming over to this area where now it's time for our very last bungee challenge, and this by far is the hardest bungee challenge because there are going to be these lasers that are going through, but like usual I just want to get my normal bungeeing. That way I can get 2 of those. Now there are going to be 3 more of these targets. We got to reset our bungee, and I will get hit by lightning right there. Not the best, but okay, this could be very bad. Okay, we're now on to 1 health, which is not exactly what we'd like. So I am going to play this a bit more patiently than I normally would. We're just going to go over here, worry about this electricity. I would have loved to go right there, but I couldn't. But that is going to be our next target. There's just 1 more. Please give me a good time to do it. I am terrified of this electricity, but we're gonna go hit ourselves there. That level was terrifying. But now it is time for a pretty hard jump where I want to jump from here, do a spin, and be able to grab onto some stuff there. So this usually takes me a couple of tries, this time taking me a little bit more than I would have liked. SpongeBob, please just do what I need you to do. Okay, that was such a dumb time loss, but we finally made it over here, and now we're out of bounds. But then we have to get back in bounds, which we can just walk down there and get it first try. Normally you do not get that first try, so I'm kind of surprised. But we can also see Sandy, who's just running on a wheel. And yeah, by the way, basically Plankton has put his chum bucket hats on everybody. So now there is minions, and we have to save the entire town. What we're going to do right here is we're going to grab this watermelon, and we're going to hit that button. And now we have to be extremely fast right here to be able to make it over to this spot and make it to the other place before that watermelon expires and dies. So I just have to run over there and barely be able to get this token, which is perfect. And the reason we did that is then we can pause ourselves and go to our next combat arena, which we unlocked when we went to that first area. Now in this game, basically how combat arenas work is you have to kill a lot of different enemies. But for this one, it's kind of like a joke one where all we have to do is kill a jellyfish, and it's the easiest token of our life. We will get another combat arena later on to actually show you what they're like, but that's kind of just the jokey one. So that's going to spawn us right back over here where now we have a very cool trick we get to do. So first of all, I'm going to switch over to Patrick, and we can just grab the wall right there, which is going to allow us to be out of bounds yet again. Then with Patrick, we can just cartwheel over here until we make it to this spot. And I want to turn my camera downwards. That way we can jump right there and be able to make that perfectly, where now we're under the map. So from here, I can just do cartwheels into jumps. That's going to keep Patrick upwards while also being able to make our way over to this token that's also under the map. And yeah, such a funny part. So from here, we're then going to pause the map and go back to Google Eyes and Smelly Knickknacks. You know the drill. We're going to do both the time challenges and also the ring challenge. But once those are done, we can then pause our game and go back to Planktopolis. And here we're going to talk to Mindy again, because now we actually have 40 tokens, and right away we're going to upgrade our Sonic Wave, which is going to make this power even better before then going back. Because before you beat this game, you have to get a total of 50 tokens, so we have to go collect some more of those. And that means we're going all the way back to the beginning of the game in I'm Ready Depression. And right away we can start out by doing one of these big arena fights, and this entire fight is just throw our bubble balls. Yeah, not too much else to say. There are also going to be 3 different waves. The second one gives us some more people to take out and some harder people, but yeah, not too much else to say. We're just going to skip to the end. Finally, after wave 3 is done, we destroy all the Plankton machines and we get our next token. Now next up, we're going to teleport to Sonic Wave Guitar, because once you unlock the guitar, it gives you all of the teleport points to the guitar missions right away, so we're going to be able to do these really fast. And how these work is basically we use this guitar ability, and you can see we control it like this, where we're just moving through the air. It's like an airplane kind of, and we have to hit all of these rings one after the other. But these rings are so much harder to hit than they are for like the car levels, because if you mess up, if you're just slightly off, it is very easy to just completely miss it and lose the entire level. Now it's not too much of a problem for this one, but the other 2 tokens that we're going to use the guitar for, they can be pretty difficult. Still though, like I said, for this first one, nice and easy. We finally hit the final target, we win, and we get our next token. Then we can go over to Bubble Blowing Baby Hunt, and like I said, because we got the guitar, this teleport point is automatically unlocked for us, so we can go straight over here without ever actually coming here. And that means it's SpongeBob time number 2, and this is going to be pretty fun because we actually haven't seen this level in the speedrun yet. If you remember, right at the beginning of the speedrun, we basically skipped the entire thing because we did those jumps. So yeah, we will be doing this token along with a couple more of them, which is pretty cool because I really enjoy this one. But what we have to do for here is go through this entire fiery area. I don't remember this area being in the movie. Like, imagine SpongeBob and Patrick had to survive this while people were hunting for them. Kind of terrifying, I will not exactly lie, but we're just coming through. We'll keep getting these different rings. It's also kind of difficult because a lot of these are very tight, like that one. But as soon as we get out of this area, it becomes a lot easier because now we're just going through a couple of these hallways. One thing I do have to keep track of though is those ice blocks. It's kind of easy to hit those ice blocks if you're not careful, just because they're flying in the air and they're also translucent. But we're slowly but surely making it over to the end. Another one of those ice blocks. I do not want to get hit by you. Okay, there we go, right towards the beginning of the level, and that's another win and another token. Also, look how weird SpongeBob looks in this level because he's just terrified the whole time. It's kind of funny. But now we're going to do a really cool trick. Now what we want to do is do a bubble bowl into pressing R. That way we get the text box. So I'm just going to keep trying, and then if we are able to get off of that platform, we're going to keep that text box with us. So we will skip to Patrick right now, and you can still see that it says press R to skip characters. And yeah, we're just going to be able to keep this text box, which is going to allow us to do some pretty cool skips. skips. With Patrick though, we're basically just going through the level backwards, which is pretty cool. And that also means we're going to be able to get a lot of these tokens much faster than you normally would be able to, and that's why we wanted to do the skip at the beginning. It is kind of fun seeing how this level was definitely not made to go backwards as well. Like right here, you actually can't normally go up here unless what you do is we want to press the R button, then spam A, get into this cutscene, and while we're doing the ledge grab, and then we're able to do one more jump to go through that platform. That's all because we have this text box. It just allows us to do what we need to do, which is really cool. That's one trick we're going to use with this text box, but then we're going to do it again, and that's going to teleport us back to this area. Now, why it didn't before was because we were doing the ledge grab, so the game stopped us from teleporting, but with that, we can come back here and get SpongeBob. Then all we have to do with SpongeBob is just die in this water, so I will just kill him. And now we're back over to this area where we got the checkpoint. So from here, we want to use our Sonic Wave guitar and hit 3 buttons, which also speeds up this area so much. The Sonic Wave guitar is so good, and you're also seeing me use its ability where once we lock onto something, we can just press the R button again and it will hit it, saving us some time. So that's going to be all 3 of those. We can also grab this token, and then we teleport for some reason. Not exactly sure why we do that, but hey, it is a time save. But now time for one of the jumps, which I really don't like. Not that jump, one a little bit later, but we will want to take out these guys. They're just kind of annoying. And then what we want to do here is do a very precise jump where we wait until the very end, do a double jump into a spin, and be able to ledge grab, which we didn't right there. But okay, come on, SpongeBob, just get the jump. It wasn't the greatest angle, please game. Okay, I have lost way too much time to this stupid jump, but I think I know what I'm doing wrong. I was just jumping too early. That's all it was. You've got to be kidding me. Okay. We're just not gonna worry about it. I still got a run to finish. That just sometimes happens in speedruns. Hey, it's been a great run other than that, so we're gonna keep going. Now, what we want to do with SpongeBob is just keep going on our way until we make it to this point, and then we can use our guitar ability to hit a button through that wall and be able to come straight over here and get this token. It's awesome. Before then, we're gonna pause and go to a Spongeball challenge we unlocked earlier. Now, the Spongeball, I like this one. You got all these rotating platforms. That one has no danger in it at all, but then we can make it past those ones, which are just moving around. And yeah, at least at the beginning of this level, pretty normal stuff. We got these fans. We got to make sure we go through that. We got one of these guys, which has a bunch of these blocks. We can just roll through that as well. All right, yeah, I guess this one really isn't that hard at all. I mean, to be fair, it is one of the earlier Spongeballs that you would get to, so it kind of makes sense. This is probably the only kind of hard part of the level where we just want to time this right, make sure we don't fall, and yeah, pretty easy. Then all that's left is this twirly platform, which I will save a little bit of time with by doing one of those jumps, gaining some momentum, and getting our token. Now we're teleporting over to Shell City dead ahead, and we have another one of these guitar challenges we have to do, so we'll switch over to SpongeBob. And this, by far, is the hardest guitar challenge in the entire game. Okay, at least I think. Maybe it's not. At least of the ones that I've played. I don't think I've played any that are harder than this one, but it's really long, and there are some places that really can confuse you. First of all, the biggest problem with this guitar challenge is it doesn't really give you too much knowledge on where the next ring is going to be. It kind of helps, like that one, you know you're going to have to go upwards, but a lot of the times you're kind of just going in blind. And if you make a mistake, if you start going the wrong direction, then you're just going to completely lose. So the beginning, like usual with these types of challenges, not going to be the hardest thing in the world. Just going through, getting a couple of these rings, but then we come over here where there are going to be some more ice blocks. Okay, that was almost bad, but we made it through. You know, we didn't get hit by anything. Anyways, we're just gonna keep going. Then we go up into this area where we turn left. And now one thing that you can keep in mind for this section is as soon as you go through this tunnel the first time, pretty much the only direction you're ever gonna turn is to the left. I guess there was that one right turn, but then these other ones, as you can see, we're all going to the left. This level is also getting very close. If you do fail and miss any one of these rings, by the way, then you just lose. You gotta go back to the beginning and do this entire thing again. So it's a huge time loss, and things could just go very badly for this level. But we're doing well so far. I just have to keep in my mind that we have to keep going to the left. There's gonna be this one kind of hidden, then go over here. A lot of these rings too, especially when they're going and giving you one right after the other, it's kind of scary. But now we're going through this tunnel a second time, and now we're going to be going over to the right. So yeah, just small things you can do to remind yourself about how to play this level. First time through the tunnel, it's to the left. Second time through the tunnel, it's to the right. Learned that through Purple's tutorial, and it's a very nice thing to know about. Now we're finally coming to the end. where all we have to do is keep hitting these rings, and there's finally going to be our target. Oh, it's done. And with that token, we can finally teleport back to Planktopolis. This is the teleport point we got when we went outside the map, basically. And from here, we can just go straight over to the Planktopolis building. And Plankton just looks so happy. Unfortunately for him, it's time to ruin his entire day, because now we're going to be coming through here. We want to do 3 jumps before we even start moving forward. And one great thing about this level is you can see Patrick just swinging up above. Gotta love that guy. He's got really good upper body strength, I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, we'll make it through that first part, and now we have a kind of cool trick we want to do. First of all, we want to get rid of that dude. Then there is going to be this first cannon. I'm going to jump out of the way of that. That way we can have our back turned over towards these platforms, do one of those jumps, and you've got to be kidding me. Okay, as I was saying, we just do this jump. I didn't even know that could happen for that timing. It's never happened to me before, but we're just not going to worry about it. We'll take out that guy. We'll wait for those rockets to go past. Before then, we start using our guitar. That way we can hit that button. That's going to open up some new platforms and our very next Spongeball challenge. These platforms are collapsing ones, so I want to make sure that doesn't happen, and we'll grab this. So it is very last Spongeball challenge, finally. Here we're going on these fans, and we see there's wind trying to blow us off them, but as long as we go on the ones with dumbbells on them, we know we'll be safe. Then we have one of these spinny platforms, which, like usual, we're just going to gain up some momentum. That way we can go faster, and we can also take this, which kind of a scary part. Now I just have to remember what to go on next. Oh my gosh. Okay, bit of a mistake, but the only thing that matters is not letting everything collapse. My goal for this run is to get a sub 2 hours, so we still are on pace for that. What I want to do right here, just go through. It's so easy. All I had to do was remember the order that they go in, but for some reason I couldn't. Now we want to wait out this fan, and then go directly after that happens. We get one of those jumps right there, and this is kind of a hard platform where we want to wait this out, go take the left path, be able to make it over there, and make it to the end. Now the all that's left is this part is kind of scary, where we want to take these fans straight over to the token. That's going to be number 49. You know, one thing sad about this speedrun that I just realized is during the Patrick sections, one thing that I still have memories from, and I still quote to this day, is Patrick going jumping, jumping, jumperoo. Here, I'll play the sound effect. But now it is time for a SpongeBob skip. Normally you would have to solve a riddle, but I'm not trying to solve any riddles. Instead, what we can do is just skip this part. We're going to want to do a jump here, into a spin, into another jump, and mess it up. Okay, second time. I have to time this jump pretty well, so it's a bit difficult. Does not lose much time at all to mess up though, so we'll make it the second time, and then we can start going up the wall. Then once we make it up that part, we get a checkpoint, and we want to take these blocks. Now I got a really weird cycle right here, and yeah, kind of expected. I could not tell you what exactly that cycle was. That just felt super strange, but we can make it this time. Just make it to the end. There are going to be these 2 guys that do jump out with their Plankton hats, but I don't have to worry about that. We'll just do 2 bowls. That way we can just hit those. It's kind of funny because normally you would want to use the fans to bowl into those, but because the upgraded Spongebob has so much of a range, it just doesn't matter at all. Now we're going up this path where what we want to do is jump off of that, hit one of those explosions, and now we're onto the final area. Well, the final area of this level, where what we want to do is jump over into this place and then jump down here. And the reason we did it that way was because then no enemies spawn, which makes this part a little bit easier. So what I want to do is move this platform down into the last second, do one of these jumps into a bash, and make it to this area where once we do that, we can just die. And that should spawn us back at the... Okay. I think I didn't hug the wall enough. So now we actually have these enemies in... Okay. Yeah, you can see why we didn't want to spawn these guys, but I can fix this. All I have to do is that. We'll just turn around and then do a jump into a bash. And then we just have to hit that. I'm actually going to make sure I hug this wall. That way we get our new spawn point. And as soon as we revive, there we go. That's what we wanted to see. And now it's time for the gigantic Plankton robot, where for this one, we have to use our guitar to hit his eye multiple times. So we'll get the first time right there. Then we want to jump onto the front platform. We can hit his eye a second time. There's all these different things he's shooting out at us, but as long as you just do this over and over again, you should be fine. We might be a little bit too close to the platform, and we were. That sucks. Only like a 3-second time loss. We'll then hit him one more time. don't know what just happened right there, why we teleported over, but that's finally gonna be our 50th token. And that means it's time for the drive of Knucklehead McSpazitron, which for this one, we have to collect 50 tokens before we do it, otherwise we can't actually do the drive. So once Mindy confirms that we have that, we can actually play the game. Kind of annoying you're forcing me to do that, not gonna lie, Mindy, but it happens. And this is our very last drive of the game, and it's a pretty fun one. We have this entire city just absolutely destroyed by everything Plankton did. I'm not gonna lie, Plankton, you could have made it like a little bit more colorful, but you know, Plankton is the ruler of Bikini Bottom, so who am I to complain? It's just a pretty normal drive. There's not too much to worry about in the terms of shortcuts and stuff. I'm just going through trying to dodge those spikes. Those were kind of terrifying, and using my boost whenever it's applicable. Also, look at all these Plankton statues. I wonder how much time it took for them to do this. Don't they only have like a week in the movie? So it took literally a week. Pretty impressive, Plankton, but I guess that's what happens when you just control everybody with mind control. But we'll go through there, dodge that statue that's kind of coming downwards. There's going to be that block. Okay, excuse me, man. At least it will destroy that stuff, give us some extra points. I mean, the points don't really do anything for us at this point, but hey, I mean, I guess it's nice they're there. And we're just gonna keep driving over. At this part, there's going to be these 3 doors that close, or I guess 2 doors that close and 1 that stays open. It's gonna be the right one. And we have this yard where they're going to get all this hot sauce and all this oil coming out onto this yard. So we want to dodge the hot sauce. The oil isn't the biggest thing in the world to worry about, but we'll just keep making it over here until we finally get this part where we get one of our nitros. We want to use it right there, make this jump, and what just... I have never seen that in my life. I'm gonna be honest, I cannot tell you what just went wrong there. Okay, this time, please just work. I still have no idea what... That's what's supposed to happen. Why did it not last time? Okay, you know, we're over it. Anyways, we're just finishing up. All we have to do is this final turn. It's gonna give us a nitro straight into the finish line, and that puts us directly onto the Krusty Krab. So it's time for the very final boss fight of the entire game, where we have to face off against King Neptune, who's getting controlled by Plankton. So what I want to do for this is just keep jumping around and dodging all of this stuff as possible. If you don't dodge his attacks, then the fight is going to take much longer because his attacks basically reset. Like you'll see, after we dodge 3 of those, he goes into this phase where he takes out a sniper rifle. I did not know King Neptune had a sniper rifle, and he starts trying to shoot us. Then we can go over to Mr. Krabs, use that to reflect it onto all the tables, and deal our first bit of damage. First and most important thing is not taking any damage on these attacks. That way we can just do this faster. Now this is going to be reflection number 2. We can go through there, hit King Neptune for his second hit of damage, and now the attacks are going to switch up. This time we're going to get these electricity attacks which go around in circles, and okay, kind of embarrassing. We're going to get these attacks which are a lot harder to dodge, I'm not going to lie, especially if you're trying to go fast and hit these tables, which why'd I even try to do that? Okay, just play the game, just go a little bit slower, dodge all the electricity. Oh, I'm so great at video games. But at least at this point, now we can just come over here and dodge all these attacks by standing here. After waiting out a couple of those attacks, he's going to go angry again. So, of course, we just come over to Mr. Krabs and... Oh, so I must have missed one of the tables, which is interesting. Oh, because we got hit right after that, so I probably just forgot to do it. Okay, you know, that's fine. We're just gonna keep our cool, hit the Mr. Krabs statue one more time, then hit King Neptune. He is now down to half health, but we got the same attack one more time. This time, I also played the attack much better, did what we're actually supposed to do, so that's gonna be all the tables, and right away, we get him in his angry mode, where he brings out the sniper rifle. It's so funny that he has a sniper rifle. But anyways, hit him for the 4th time, and now we're on to the last phase, where I'm actually probably gonna have to put on some different music because it's playing the Goofy Goober music, and I think YouTube would copyright strike me if I showed that. But anyways, we're just playing this pretty normally. The only thing that's kind of important is we do also want to take out the guys that are spitting at us, and that's because they're just an extra thing that could hit us at very annoying points. So I'm just gonna time these hits for when the electricity is coming at me, and yeah, we can take them out pretty simply. Now this is going to be hit number 5. Just go straight into Mr. Krabs. We then hit King Neptune, and we repeat this one more time. Put your toys away. You know what I'm gonna say? You know what I'm gonna say? No way. No freaking way. All right, so we're gonna hit him for the very last time, and as soon as we hit King Neptune, that's gonna be time 1:56:40, which is also gonna be 54th place on the speedrun leaderboards, so I'll take it. A lot of mistakes at the end, but it happens. All right, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.